And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Making the Invisible Visible. We're here with the DSS and we have a wonderful program to share with all of you so you can get involved in the amazing things that happen with DSS. It's going to be such a beautiful time here with so many people from around the world. I'm tuning in here from Ibiza and really, really excited to be part of this program and to be emceeing for the first time. So just a little note that we are still raising money for our Diversity, Equity and Access Scholarship Fund, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity and Access Scholarship Fund. And we're currently at 5K. So if we're trying to reach 65K and if 650 people donated $100, that goal will be reached. We're making sure that this cohort of DSS is really accessible. So 76% of the current cohort is on scholarships. So it'd be wonderful if you can give at givebutter.com/DSS. And we have so much to share today. I am going to be here throughout this first little session and sharing some music, some breath work. And the first person we have up is an amazing, amazing human called I.D.E.A. She's an evolutionary from cohort 3 and a contemporary eco-folk artist, immigrant poet, and award-winning climate justice advocate. Her Mother Earth Stewardship-centered interdisciplinary creative studio builds bridges of private, collective, planetary healing. So she will be sharing a poem called Fire Ants Resilience and Climate Epic Portals of Transformation. So I.D.E.A, we are ready for you.
Thank you so much, Marv and Roxy, and hi everyone watching us now and joining us later. Welcome to Making the Invisible Visible. So I want to welcome you by starting with some fire ants wisdom for our world on fire that needs us. So invite you to soak in what fire ants want to tell us.
Maybe we humans can learn. Can we please learn from fire ants who, when facing death by flooding, join their hands to form boats? From the Fire Ant Body Collective, spongy, alive, boats afloat for weeks and weeks and weeks to save each other from drowning. What if in our burning, submerging, stormy, aching world, what if we learn from fire ants how we can become the very fabric of our own survival, not each drowning on their own, but as fire ants surviving the rising tides together by joining our many fragile, strong hands, because only that and only that is our ultimate test if we shall die alone or survive together. Can we please survive together this fire and water? Can we please survive together?
Thank you so much for receiving the fire ants wisdom. And with that, I invite all of us here to embody and continue to embody portals of transformation, which to me is what Design Science Studio is all about. So welcome to Portals of Transformation. A portal is an edge. A portal is an edge between before and after, life and death, past and present, continuation and dissolution, universe and metaverse, end and beginning. Through the rites of passages of these liminal times, we pass the betwixt and between of unprecedented elementary changes to enter the portals of transformation. One, regrounding our earth bodies, where we have forgotten that our bodies where we have forgotten that our bodies, first shaped from rain-soaked mud, are a part of Mother Earth. We dance to the rhythm of recall, acknowledging that the holy ground beneath our feet, all her beings, and we come from the very same seeds. Where an inheritance of greed has slow poisoned our emerald green forest while domesticating our own purple wilderness, we join our iridescent hands to sing songs of healing, our vibrations cleansing the living excavations of disease cells in and all around us. Where desolate concrete highways have suffocated Mother Earth's mouth with their violent hands, we sow new hemlines of milkweed meadows by the roadside. Our butterfly messengers softly inviting the soul back to the soil. 2, reviving our air passages where air is thick, with masks of anger on troubled faces, filled with bottled up grief, we plant symphony gardens of wailing blue wind chimes where all the held up tears finally arrive to meet and greet. Their heavy, lustful, metallic smoke we released has sallowed the skin of birds, bees, trees, and children yet to be. We become alchemists of compassion, ensuring that the breath of life is never again shriveled because of how we choose to exist. Where we have lost the art of listening to whistling of breeze, music of trees, and pulses of strangers. We reread the script of silence that already knows where, how, when our ears and heartbeats traveled so far apart. 3, rekindling our sacred fire, where suppressed small fires have grown into ferocious wildfires with wiggly, thirsty tongues and vengeful teeth, we bow. We bow in humility to the exile keepers of ceremonial fires, now tending freely to their flame teachers and teaching us too. Where we have raced farther and farther from blazing Father Sun, his DNA memory alive in our shaky vitamin D deficient bones, we shed our plastic shells. We open our dusty windows. We invite sun's power to recharge our temporary homes. Where extreme heat of planetary self-immolation is scorching us and the only world we have ever known, we gather around in crackling fires. Our intimate story circles emulating nature's abundance that knows how to witness and how to be witnessed through such burns. 4, remembering our water being, where drought has cracked open ocean's descendant skin parched across the maps of our thirsty lands, we plant an oasis of restoration, re-merging rainwater with welcoming cups of our beloved hands. where tsunami's belly roars between the haunting losses of past tremors and knocking future nightmares. We build. We build with utmost care for those shaken by bygone storms and the inevitable storms that lie ahead of us, where overdrained water is making the ground sink even as seawater continues to steadily rise, rise, and rise. We stop our civilization's ritualized addiction to mutilation, mining, murder of people and planet for so, so long. 5, renewing our whole spirits, where we sit bewildered, helpless because so much has already been lost. We decompose our lamentations into compositions of hope and enchantment, where arrogant pursuit of independence has fractured our relations to each other and our kins in the natural world. We write a new vocabulary of coexistence, honoring the web of life in its fractal wholeness, where we have been trying to change the world without changing ourselves, while holding a magnifying mirror on other people's faults. We look inside our own mirrors, where our delusion of separation melts into a shared blanket of replenished life for all. Through these elementary portals of transformation, we make the long journey back home to return to ourselves and to each other. How we choose to live now, our prayer of collective survival. How we mend now, our new pilgrim path. How we embody change now, our salvation and liberation. Yes, this is our open secret. The portal is us. The portal is us. The portal is us. So, welcome to the portal. The portal is us, each one of us. So, welcome again to making the invisible visible. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Oh, that was so powerful. The portal is us. Thank you for opening the portal and for reminding us of the beauty and resilience that comes from coming together in these ways and looking at these patterns in nature and in each other and continuing to hold steadfast to our collective potential. This is such a beautiful opening. I'm so grateful. Neha has been a huge part of the Design Science Studio community since 2022. And it's been amazing to see all that you've been creating in the world. We'll put some of your links in the chat. And I wonder, just as we transition and welcome everyone into the rest of the day, maybe you could share a few words about some of what you have coming up and if there's anything that folks can do to follow or support your work, Neha.
Thank you so much, Roxy. And I am just so grateful for Design Science Studio community. One, to find that you are not alone, because I feel we are a community of multi-dimensional, infinite bajillionaires. So it's nice to be in the multiverse together. And Design Science Studio has just expanded me and my creative practice and activism in so many ways. So one, I'm just so immensely grateful. And yeah, I just love to connect. There are many portals of connecting. Maybe Roxy can drop my my socials. And I did recently give a TEDx talk which has come out within last few weeks on YouTube. So if you search for Neha and TEDx, it should come up. It's about reclaiming creativity as a portal to wholeness. So I hope it will speak to you and this really sacred private collective planetary work we are all doing. So yeah, just keep doing your wonderful doings and being, because there can't be any doing without sustainable being. So and have fun. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Lots of love to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neha. And congratulations. The talk is amazing. We'll definitely put that link in the chat as well. And it's just such an honor to be in community with you and to continue to create together. And speaking of creating together, I'm going to bring up another amazing human, Melina Angel, who is a part of cohort 3 and is going to be a part of welcoming us into making the invisible visible. Melina is not only a part of cohort 3 as an artist and designer, but is an evolutionary biologist and a biomimicry professional and a biosphere translator and a regenerator, and has prepared some thoughts with us about making the invisible visible. So I'm going to put those up here.
Thank you, Roxy, and good morning or afternoon, everyone, or evening. Thank you for having me here. I want just to give you an idea on how nature is the supreme artist of making the invisible visible, and that the whole life is just doing this. As you know, the flow of water in a tub, for example, will create this vortex, and the shape will emerge just by the flow of resources, the flow of water. So we can see how a flow creates a shape, and this is something that happens many, many times. Next, please. And in this way, for example, we have the forest, the Amazon forest. All the trees produces all these terpenes chemicals, these little molecules that smell, that there are all these medicinal properties and that communicate the forest between animals and plants. And the Amazon forest creates so many tons of terpenes that go into the atmosphere. And each of these molecules are able to condense water around itself. So it started to create drops of water. And actually, when the drop is still big enough, it will rain and the forest will water itself. But this breathing of good medicinal smell. So the rain in the Amazon forest is created by these invisible molecules. Next. And as we see one prairie and any field, we are seeing the action of pollinators. And even if we don't see them doing the pollination, it's like is the action of these beings that we can see when we cross and we just gaze a prairie or a valley or a forest. And that's how is invisible the visible as well. The fireflies have this luminescence, bioluminescence possibility, which is the interaction between bacteria that they are in fact doing the chemical reaction that produces light, and put them into a coherence of information, so the firefly can inform the bacteria when and in which intensity the bacteria will produce this reaction, so they can communicate with other fireflies. They are amazing. They are just making visible a super high symbiotic communication with bacteria. Next. And when we see at different scales, we can see how a super complicated metabolic path of reactions of chemicals and enzymes, and that, you know, like all this biochemistry is just revealed, but the harmonic organization of cells, of the bloodstream, of the sugar regulation, of the everything that we cannot see, but actually the coherence, the global coherence is what we see. Next. And the organization of the cells are actually making the coherence of the whole organism. And we don't see exactly that, those self-organizing cells, but we can see an organism having the coherence of what is going on, of the thoughts, of the conversations, of the movements, and the beauty that is also embedded in this self-organized self movement. Next. And when we think about all this natural coherence, and we see that we are just surrounded by abundance, we are missing just one little part of trust between ourselves, just to gather and make some meal together, just to gather and make something together. And that togetherness, it will be just seen as the emergence, the emergence shape of our natural relationships, of our natural impulse of the heart. Next. And if we're there, maybe we can start to make visible the rivers in the cities and regenerate the whole world, making visible the invisible. What is there? What we need to pull out in form of water, in form of emotions, and start to seeing it all around us. And maybe next, we're there to go even further and to make symbiosis with those bacteria and to become bioluminescent beings, evolve with everything that is around us, and taking all these parasitic bacteria that are bioluminescent bacteria inside of us, embracing the parasite, embracing everything that we reject, and becoming completely luminescent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melina. Beautiful, beautiful. And I love the way that you can really show that interconnectivity of all that we are, and that we are really part of nature, and nature is part of us. And it's really beautiful to see that vision of the rivers running through the cities and through life. It reminds me, I grew up in South London, and there was a river running through it called the Effra, and it's completely under concrete now. Nobody knows that it's there unless you have been told. And it makes me think, how would places like Brixton, South London, all these places be if we really honored these natural waterways? So thank you so much for your sharing. It's beautiful. So I just wonder if there's anything else that you'd like to share about your work, or anything you have coming up that you'd like to let the audience know, or how we can support you or find out more.
I was just doing this. It was very surprising for me how deep and how fast I am able to weave all these thoughts about nature and connecting them, as you said, with us, with our real life. And I woke up this morning thinking that that's actually what we should be doing, like the best of us. So I'm kind of sparked by doing more of this.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank
And you, by just the way that you are channeling these words so connected, it's really embodying what you're speaking about in you speaking for these, we say, making the invisible visible, but also making the unheard heard, and speaking for those voices. So thank you so much for that beautiful presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Amazing. So next up, we have two amazing revolutionaries, Mark Smith and Larissa Cole, who will be sharing about one of their projects from the recent Pathways Program Hackathon. So Larissa Cole is a non-dual animist artist facilitator, creating vitalizing experiences to shape culture. Mark Smith making the invisible visible throughout the design science decade with the Design Science Studios LA Procon kin beaming eco-earth from the heart of the regeneration. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Larissa in person. I think she's coming to Ibiza very soon. We also have a special guest, John Hausdorfer, who's a teacher, writer, organizational founder, and environmental philosopher from Crested Boat, where he teaches ethics and philosophy of science at Western Colorado University. We'll be sharing the feature project of creating purposeful play inside of planetary crisis in collaboration with Campaign for Nature. And that's all part of the 30 for 30 project that Campaign for Nature are doing. So I'll pass it on now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the introduction. And we're going to roll right with the video, please. Larissa is unable to join us. They are in India, so we've got a beautiful little video for you. And then we'll come back with John.
You know, Mark, I haven't been given the video.
Oh, it's in your folder.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm going to pull it up and it's going to be beautiful. It didn't make it into the runner show, but here we are, rolling with the punches. I just want to say while I get this video up that, John, it is such an honor to have you. I'm so grateful that you joined us today and all of the work that you're doing with helping ask this question and get into this inquiry about what kind of ancestor we want to be. So I'm the director of the Design Science Studio and one of the core stewards. And I just wanted to, since we have this moment while I'm pulling this up, just personally thank you for being here and for making this time. It's really a pleasure and an honor to have you join us, and hopefully it's not the last one. All right, let's get this video up. All right, welcome, Echo, Echo, and Larissa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Larissa Call, tuning in from New Delhi, India. My teammate is Mark Smith, and we are sharing with you today our new creative intervention, Eco Echoes Village Theater Toolkit. So we're going to start with this question. How often do you feel like you are able to respond to the needs of your neighborhood, bioregion, and or the earth? So really sitting with this question for a moment and allowing whatever is arising in response to that question to arise. So we're asking this question because many of us are feeling the distress of not being able to respond correctly, of not being in right relationship with our local ecologies and with the earth. And this is an experience of painful incongruence. We know that many of the human systems we are embedded in are harmful, but we continue having to exist inside of them. And just like any organism, humans have a unique role to play in the vitality and balance of our world that is not just about excess and domination. And not being able to exist in our harmonious roles not only threatens our survival, but takes a toll on our emotional, mental, and spiritual health. Eco Echoes Village Theater Toolkit offers a direct way for people of all ages to put their energy behind one of the most pressing issues of our time, protecting the biodiversity of our planet. So Eco Echoes is in the process of devising a downloadable intergenerational community experience that combines play, art, education, theater games, and civic participation, all anchored in this question: what kind of ancestor do you want to be? So Eco Echoes Village Theater Toolkit was developed during our recent DSS hackathon in response to a need to support Campaign for Nature's call to policymakers to fund a global coordinated effort to protect 30% of the Earth's waters and lands, and to center the wisdom of Indigenous and local communities in maintaining biodiversity. So why Village Theater? Village theater, or ritual play for learning and tending to community, is one of our oldest ancestral technologies. Every single original culture around the globe engages in it, or has engaged in it. It allows us to think out loud together and to embody concepts and narratives through action. It is also inherently pleasurable when it incorporates nervous system-friendly rhythms, sounds, and the right mix of social stimulation and relaxation. This is actually a photo from a family gathering that I was just at recently, where some of these aunties are playing tumbaknari, a drum connected to my people, and singing songs together, clapping together, being in rhythm together. Thought that was pretty cute. So the Village Theater Toolkit is downloadable, and it combines an educational portion, immersive communal play, skill building, and recording and networking to build collective momentum around the call for heads of state to follow through on funding the Campaign for Nature's 3030 campaign by 2025. Again, to protect 30% of the world's waters and lands and Indigenous and local communities. So our toolkit is focusing the public's emotional and energetic charge around planetary crisis by building a sense of creative agency and purposeful play, really just inside of the planetary crisis situation that we're in, but also inside of the 30 by 30 campaign. So the components of this toolkit include an informational portion about the 30 by 30 campaign and the importance of biodiversity. It includes specific compelling stories about particular organisms, natural processes, or local and Indigenous communities or wisdom related to biodiversity, as well as theater games and creative participation for an interactive portion that are connected to those compelling stories and that are based in play science and ecopsychology. And then finally, with this opportunity to record and upload videos with specific hashtags to social media to create a shared sense of movement and to apply public pressure to policymakers. So specific compelling stories related to biodiversity include stories of best practices from local and Indigenous communities, for example, like coastal groups who plant kelp forest to sustain fish populations, or the power of pollinators in our food systems, or the role of beavers in protecting against drought and wildfire. There's a lot of different ways to engage in theater games and ritual play. A few examples include embodiment, shape-shifting, connecting to more than human consciousness, playing and participating inside of the stories that are being offered in the toolkit. People might also devise their own works. So there's a lot of different iterations that this could take, and that could be made specifically relevant to different local communities. We are also, as part of this toolkit, aiming to create knowledge across the globe as well. So not just connecting to your local ecology, but also learning about ecologies that are far away from you, that are maybe across the planet, to create a greater sense of interconnectedness. And finally, again, we have this question that we're anchored in: what kind of ancestor do you want to be? So creative future casting. And here's a little drawing of a possible theater game. I've been really feeling the beavers lately. So an example of this is we can take the compelling story of how beavers encourage greater biodiversity and resilience against drought and wildfire by slowing down the flow of water with their beaver dams and really changing the ecosystem. And in this theater game, a group of people would embody and reenact that flow of change brought on by those beavers. So we've got people who are embodying the water moving. We've got people or a chorus clapping and giving direction so that there's a sense of flow and rhythm together. There are people who can stand in as, come in as trees. Beaver people come in and put the trees in the way of the water, and the water moves differently, which results in the sprouting of new biodiversity. So with this toolkit, we're inviting the public to move from a sense of helplessness to right action. Once again, anchored in the question, what kind of ancestor do you want to be? And our needs right now are to find more collaborators, support with continuing to fund the project, looking for artists who are really feeling the call and the vision of this project. And we're really still developing our prototypes. So we're looking for places to bring our theater games, places to bring our toolkit and get some good feedback. So if any of this is piquing your interest in any way, reach out. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening and witnessing.
Thank you, Larissa. Mark here, beaming from the land of Inside Out. From the lush rainforests of the Amazon to the ancient woodlands of the Far East, two extraordinary feathered beings have emerged as emissaries of Earth. Meet Echo, a vibrant Sphinx macaw whose plumage shimmers in striking shades of blue. Alongside him soars Echo, a magnificent Blakiston's fish owl, one of the world's largest species whose powerful wings span wider than a human's outstretched arms. Though an unlikely duo, these emissaries of the environment from opposite ends of Earth share an unbreakable bond and a desperate cause. With less than 200 Spix macaws remaining in the wild, Echo's very existence teeters on the brink of extinction, a stark reality facing over 1 million species at risk of disappearing forever. Eco's own ancestral forest home continues shrinking every day, reminding us they are also an endangered species. Prepare to join Eco and Echo on their bird's eye views, learning and laughing during their lively exchanges as effervescent Eco mimics the facts while benevolent Echo coos the classic questions we all ponder. Who, what, where, why, when. Most importantly, get ready to open your eyes, ears, and hearts to the wondrous diversity of life that is our home as they ask us to embody the question from a more than simply a human perspective. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? And with this beautiful question, I want to say thanks to the Design Science Studio and Campaign for Nature for inviting us into the Pathways 30 by 30 hackathon to address the accelerating biodiversity loss here on Earth, our home, Gaia. As Larissa mentioned, the goal of these initiatives is to make sure the leaders and those responsible for the financial obligations to the 30 by 30 campaign that were made are followed through on. When we heard this design challenge, the question immediately came to mind. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? As I.D.E.A had in the first cohort of the Design Science Studio shared this phrase with us back then. After the hackathon, I went looking into the question as I knew it was an old question, and I wanted to respect its ancestry to learn how to best carry it into the Eco Earth campaign. That's when I discovered the book with the same title. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? Lucky for us, today we have joining us one of the editors of the book, created in collaboration with the Center for Humans and Nature, John, and we asked him here to share with us his background of working with this vibrant question and how we might consider the potency of it. You're all welcome to join in and sharing your thoughts by linking into the QR code for our AHA slides. Welcome, John, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark. It's wonderful to be here. What an amazing surprise, and it's nice to see that the questions in the collective unconscious. I love the way you found me and the conversation we had this week, and Larissa and Roxy and Amanda. Thank you all for hosting. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? This is a question for which I cannot take credit, nor can my co-editors. A lot of organizations now are working with tribal communities on land acknowledgements to recognize the rightful homeland on which those organizations exist. Our university just had a Land Back conference about a year ago where we had voices from 11 tribes of the region speak to, their homeland, where our campus is located. We have yet to come up with a land acknowledgement because we believe we have to first earn it through structural relationships, co-management partnerships, the sharing of resources, listening carefully, with cultural humility, then maybe co-written with tribal members who agree with what we're doing and participate in what we're doing, maybe we can then write one. Today, I want to talk about a kind of question acknowledgement, because what kind of ancestor do you want to be comes from the tribal communities of Turtle Island. It comes from the African diaspora. You can find it in Confucian thought in China with respect for the ancestors. And I want to share with you part of the opening of what kind of ancestor do you want to be. One of my co-editors, Melissa Nelson, is Anishinaabe, and she's a Turtle Mountain Chippewa. And she has this to say about the origins of the question. As indigenous communities, as tribes, as place-based citizens, as human beings, we know we would not exist without the love and struggle of our ancestors. Our DNA reminds us of this bond, what the late Dakota poet John Trudell called our descendants and ancestors. Because of this, through the links of time and countless generations, we strive to honor and recognize our ancestors in ceremony, in ritual, song, and dance, and daily acts of gratitude. Quote, we are all related, even to the unseen, thinking about your making the invisible visible theme. We are all related, even to the unseen, and we recognize that our ancestors are with us in the river of souls, the Milky Way, in the corn that we grow and eat, in the water we splash on our face every morning. That is, again, from Melissa Nelson, our co-editor. And so it's important to remind ourselves of those ancient roots of the question, and not just to sort of co-opt that question and make it about my individual legacy. What kind of ancestor do I want to be? This is about how can I be a participant in the continued thriving of the cultures and ecological communities of Turtle Island. The ancestor question itself is not based on whether or not I will be remembered. The ancestor question is not based on whether or not I will have grandchildren or great-grandchildren. The ancestor question is all about the extent to which my actions adhere to values that enliven the systems that allow these places to thrive in a way that offers an equitable kind of resilience to human and more than human communities. It's about keeping alive the values that continually enliven the systems necessary to ecological, emotional, cultural, economic, social health. In other words, it's not about me. It's important to ask about legacy, but that's the portal into which we get ourselves to transcend the self, or at least to think about a larger, deeper self. I want to offer a complementary acknowledgement. That was the sort of more general, deep time cultural acknowledgement, but I want to acknowledge how I encountered the question. It was in the year 2011. I was attempting to write a book comparing Aldo Leopold's work from the 1940s with contemporary environmental justice activists of color. And one of the comparisons was with the work of Winona LaDuke. And so I was visiting her on the White Earth Reservation of Minnesota. and, working with their farm to table program, listening to community members, splitting wood with her kids, and in the midst of her busy schedule, sometimes being able to put a recorder on the dashboard of the car to listen to her, because I realized the only way to interview her was to be her chauffeur, right? To be a servant leader, if you will. And I was very humbled by that trip, because she really hesitated to engage with me until the very end, because I think she understood that her legacy was more than herself, that to interview her was to be in her place, right? Interacting with the land, interacting with people. She showed me a garden that was a squash garden that had come from an 800-year-old gourd that archaeologists wanted to put in a museum, and members of the tribe were able to say, no, that's a relative. And they were able to get the gourd back, and they immediately cracked it open and planted a garden, right? That gourd is an ancestor. That trust in a relation to place and the ancestors' instructions as a way forward after 400 years of colonization is what it means to keep the values and systems alive of good ancestry. So I just want to share with you a brief opening to where I first wrote about this in a book called Wildness that I also did with the Center of Humans and Nature. And it just gives you a sense of how I encountered this question more personally. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? Michael Dahl's question hangs in the thick Minnesota air. I lean against the deck railing as the chill of evening tightens my skin. 2 stories below, Round Lake reddens, matching the maples that are flashing their last burst of fall color. Michael, White Earth Anishinaabe spiritual leader, offers me the intense grin I suspect he gets when he's just floored a person with an idea. This makes me like Michael Dahl. What kind of ancestor do I want to be? I repeat Michael's query slowly, quietly, as if talking to myself. The question implies that we are always and already ancestors. Even before our descendants are born, even if we never have children. In terms of space, nowhere is away. In this age of globalization, we grapple with how our actions impact peoples and environments on the other side of the earth. Now, Michael speaks to me in terms of time. No era is away. Ethically, all times and all generations are now. So how are we to live?
Thank you, John. That's so deep. And I do want to, we have to wrap up. And I do want to mention that this was a tease for the Design Science Studio. John's going to be joining us in during the month of April at some time. We'll let everybody know that we can go deeper into this question and explore how the Eco Earth campaign can wholeheartedly carry this question forward. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John, Mark, Larissa, that's not here, but is echoing and resonating with everything that you guys have been saying. What wonderful mental images that come to mind. No, I wrote down something you said, the river of souls, and the echo, and this resonance of being and becoming in the future in this question. It's really wonderful. Thank you for that. I'm going to pass it off to my co-host Marv, and thank you guys for being here and for being great ancestors.
Thank you all. And again, you can respond to the question.
Scanning the
I love
QR
that.
code.
It's on the background of Mark's image, the QR code. Do you want to scan it, right? I think so.
I'll put it in the chat.
So that beautiful image of what ancestor do you want to be, that future casting's such a beautiful way to think into it and feel and not to be stuck in this present moment, but also think of the impact for future generations to come. So next up, we have an amazing panel with 3 geniuses who will be able to share their story of visualizing a world in change. We'll have Dr. Kirk Bergstrom, the president of WorldLink, a nonprofit organization dedicated to transformational systems change. He's developing a digital learning ecosystem, Story.Earth, which is focused on STEAM education using planetary visualizations. And Roxy, who you all know and love, is the ecosystem director of DSS and CEO of Hab Ritual. She's a regenerative artist, protopian futurist, ontological designer, and cultural producer who works at the intersection of art, science, experience, and technology to catalyze social and systemic change through inclusive transdisciplinary collaborations for the regeneration of our planet and culture. And Stephen Bow is a designer who's exploring the evolution of design from physical artifacts, entropy machines, to living systems, syntropic organisms. This panel discussion is going to be exploring the potential of Story.Earth educational initiative to integrate art and science, featuring Story.Earth lead and project creative partners. I love how so much of this is the thread of how art and science and the change can all be weaved together. So without further ado, I'd love to pass on to Kirk, Roxy, and Stephen.
Thank you, Marv. And thank you, Echo team. And thank you, Stephen and Kirk. I'm so excited that we get to do this together and have this time. I just want to share that. So recently we had the BFI 40th anniversary. And for the BFI 40th anniversary, Hab Ritual and the Design Science Studio produced and helped design the anniversary celebration. And as a part of that, we got connected to Kirk and learned so much about Kirk so quickly and his background and connection and relationship to the Buckminster Fuller Institute, who's our core partner for the Design Science Studio that we co-designed and developed the studio and is now our fiscal sponsor. And Kirk, I'm just so delighted that your offering of this incredible Dymaxion map that we'll get to hear all about it was our collision. And then from there, so much has bloomed. So today is an exciting day for us to share about what's been becoming.
Thank you so much, Roxy. It's just great to be here with fellow artists, scientists, and evolutionaries and revolutionaries, and excited to tell you a little bit about Story.Earth, which is an emerging educational initiative. Roxy thought it would be appropriate for me just to share a little bit of my background, both a relationship with Buckminster Fuller himself and with the Institute. I was so fortunate to meet Fuller when I was an 18-year-old student at the University of Southern California, and then had a magical day on my 21st birthday where I had scheduled a meeting with Bucky that was supposed to last for 20 minutes, and he ended up giving me his whole day to celebrate my birthday and to explore life and the mystery and miracle. One of the things that was so fun about that day is we were walking back from lunch, and Bucky kind of stopped in his tracks and he looked at me and said, "Kirk, you have the makings of a comprehensivist." And I've been trying to live up to that ever since. I also had the good fortune of serving on the BFI board for 14 years and watched a real evolution to this current moment. And that was a great honor as well, and really got to do the deepest of deep dives into Fuller's work and writing and artifacts. So all of that is carried forward to Story.Earth. And the inspiration for Story.Earth began when myself and a couple colleagues felt that it was time to create a new edition of the Dymaxion World Map. It had been a number of years since one had been produced, and we started talking about some of the advances in digital cartography, the ability to composite multiple layers. And so ultimately created a new image, and you're seeing a little bit of it there on the screen. That is part of a new Dymaxion map that has 7 data layers, including human settlements and watersheds and mountains and bathymetry, seafloor bottom, and glaciers and ice. And so it's really this stunning portrait of our planet. And once we created it, we felt like it needed to be surrounded by other tools and artifacts and resources. And so we began conceptualizing Story.Earth as this digital learning ecosystem that would include curriculum and a visualizations library of more than 150 planetary visualizations, and interactive tools like web AR and 3D globes. And so we're right in the midst of building this digital learning ecosystem now, and we're so happy to partner with Habitual and with Stephen. And so today we're going to tell you a little bit about it. This diagram kind of speaks to this digital learning ecosystem and why we view it as a transmedia project. So again, the different strands include the visualization library, the web AR, website hub, curriculum, and then professional learning resources for teachers. We see our primary audience as K-12 schools globally. Also, though, it's for the curious of heart, and we expect many other people and families to also take advantage of the site. We've been working closely with some wonderful content partners. Some of you may be familiar with I.D.E.A. It was originally based in Montreal, but is now based in New Zealand. Felix Ferran Deschanais is the principal. So many of our visualizations have come from that partner. We also work with NASA and NOAA and the Bird Polar and Climate Research Center, which has a wonderful app called Fluid Earth that we're building into the website. And of course, our creative partners as well. So why don't I turn it over to Roxy and Stephen to talk a little bit about kind of the evolving work and how we're building a whole creative suite to support the project.
Yeah, that's a great segue. I mean, I will say, as a former astrophysicist, to be on a slide that says NASA on it at the same time is personally a life goal. So here we are. It happened. No, I'm just like, whenever we had the conversation, Kirk, that you were searching for a designer or design team, and we began discussing the potential of this transmedia project, I was like, wait a minute, this is like exactly this intersectional space that we hold. We literally like have Ritual as a large-scale immersive art and interdisciplinary design and experiential production creative studio, does all of this work at the intersection of art and technology and science and education. And then we helped create and steward this program of the Design Science Studio. And there we are helping to steward creativity and artists around the world to direct their creativity towards a more equitable and just and regenerative future, and cultivating comprehensive anticipatory design scientists, and then weaving that forward through different types of educational materials, through art and shared experience, to help catalyze change and make the invisible visible. And so when we started talking and realized like what an amazing opportunity to collaborate, and I was thinking about who on the team would make the most sense to bring into the project, I was like, well, I mean, I'm sure you remember this conversation, Kirk, but I was like, I believe that if we can manage to get a yes, the best possible designer that we could bring into this conversation is going to be Stephen Bao. And so lucky that Stephen had enough time amidst all the other things I'm always throwing at you, Stephen, to say yes to this incredible Align project and bring all of your wisdom into it. And so together we're going to get to share a bit about where things are at, the things that have been in development, and then also Kirk will share a bit about some of the potential future stuff, which also includes some art installations, and it's all starting with this curriculum, and also it's starting with the future, which is the children. So super delighted to hand it over to Stephen now to share a bit about where we're at in the design process.
Thank you, Roxy. Yeah, it's been such a dream to be able to be invited into this. And I'm just going to share a little bit about what the process has been like. I mean, really just getting to the point where I feel like I'm just a budding, comprehensive, anticipatory design scientist, and just learning over the last 4 years by becoming a member of the Buckminster Fuller Institute and being part of the TrimTab space camps, and then being invited into the Design Science Studio. So it's a very quite a ride, you know, of being able to learn about Bucky way more than what I knew before, which was maybe some quotes. And so now that I've been invited into this community and now invited into this project, it feels like an initiation into really being part of that membership of comprehensive anticipatory design scientists, which is really an honor and kind of overwhelming. But so we can go to the next slide. It's just we're getting into understanding how to apply the story.earth brand, and so we're getting into understanding the typography in the next slide, and then the colors, how it all fits together into understanding how to bring these ideas of the sustainable development goals to elementary school children and middle school children. So there's two parts of this project, because there's these two different parts of the curriculum that are directed to the different age groups. But we have these amazing resources to work with. So we've got an image library that, as Kirk had mentioned, is coming from just amazing sources. And that allows us to now apply these into different layers on top of the Dymaxion map. And we can give you a glimpse of them as we go through these next slides of the blue marble version of the map in the next slide. And then being able to see the cloud patterns, and following that, the hydrosphere and the ocean currents and the animal richness on the earth. And so it's just amazing to be able to have all of these resources to be able to draw on for a designer. It's just, yeah, it's amazing to be working with such auspicious names. And so there's imagery that's coming from Globaya as well that gives us ways to view the earth, to really see all the dynamism around the earth, and then to be able to communicate this to children. So this is really dear to my heart because I've got a couple young grandchildren, and I'm thinking this is what I'd love for them to be able to learn from as they're growing up. So part of that is building out the curriculum, and we've got some templates that I'm starting to look at. Oh, amazing. I didn't know it moved.
Yeah, we put, Kirk sent this really beautiful one. This was one of the ones when we were having our first conversations, Kirk, that really stuck with me. Could you share a little bit about this specific visualization?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so this very short video is kind of a comparison of ancient forest to current forest. And as the globe turns, you see the, deforestation occurring in many parts of the world. So just another reminder of, our human impact. And, hopefully what this will do is not only be a sobering reminder, but also an inspiration for things like reforestation and 30 by 30. So, it works both ways.
Totally. And hopefully one day we'll be looking at a slightly different version of this map because of it. I think like the potential of witnessing these things, it's one thing to hear it, and it's another thing entirely to see it. And I think that's part of why I'm also really excited about this partnership with the Design Science Studio, because we have all of these creators around the world, over 300 creators who have been a part of the studio, who are committed to helping make visible and helping to turn towards a different future. And so by also making these resources available to them, I think like between the children and the artists and designers and all the other people that this curriculum and these assets are going to be available to in the world, I think so much good will come of it. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the templates and the curriculum itself that's being developed.
Yeah. So what I love about the direction that is being taken with this process is to imagine the world you want as being a deep part of understanding. Like, it's great to be able to see all this, but then what do the kids do with all of this information? And really bringing in that imaginative aspect, and also giving a sense to children that you have permission and full ability to be able to imagine this world and actually create it. And so we have these handouts and lesson plans that we can provide to the children, and the teachers are guiding this process by bringing in the UN Sustainable Development Goals, for example, and other materials that weave into understanding how does this all make sense, all these data visualizations that the children will be seeing. And so it leads into some data talks around asking some really basic questions. What do you notice? What do you wonder? What is going on in this visualization? And it's really not something that the teachers are going to have answers to jump to right away. It's actually to invite those questions and that wonder and imagination. And the teachers and the children are in this experience of maybe not knowing a whole lot of how these make sense, but it invites those questions and that imagination to wonder a little further into, like, what does it mean to be part of the anthroposphere, the parts of the world that humans have changed or created, like cities and farms and roads. And so we can visualize those elements on the globe in these really beautiful visualizations. And what's coming out of that then is the opportunity to bring that into people's own devices. There's an AR experience. So this is just an example or a visualization of what it could look like on a tablet. And there is a way that you can actually interact with it now. So if you go to the next slide, there's actually a QR code that people can just be able to bring up an AR implementation of the Dymaxion map. So we're inviting people to just try it out.
And I can also show the video if that.
And just one thing to add about the QR code, that needs to be paired with the image of the Dymaxion map that was shared, which can be found at story.earth. There's a kind of a placeholder website there. And so
all right, I'm logging on to the
phone or tablet needs to be pointed at that image of the map.
One other, and that, yeah, like you said, it's on the website. One other thing that's sort of serendipitous about all of this is about a week, maybe 6 days before we had our first call, Kirk, I was on a call with Miriam, who's one of the other core designers for the Design Science Studio and is our lead kind of for web design, and also my sister. And we were having a conversation, I feel like there was one other person in the room, about how do we start to take the curriculum that we've been developing in the Design Science Studio and bring it to the children, because she has a 5-year-old, my niece, and I'm getting married this year and hoping to have children soon. And I can't help but think, why are we waiting? Why do we need to wait for adults to get to the point where we're asking these questions? And then in comes Kirk and Story Daughter. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. We're not alone. So it's to get to start to be in this inquiry together and see how you all have been thinking about it and get to support it. And then thus also think about how do we also bring some of the other curriculum we've been developing. It's a really beautiful series of events that have occurred to bring us to this moment. I'm gonna pull up the little AR video real quick. I have to change my slide share. And here we go. Kirk, would you like the sound on or off?
Probably sound on would make sense.
Okay, great.
Wall platform. I'm going to allow access to my camera. First thing that comes up is the web AR layer. So I was using as the image trigger the Dymaxion map on my computer at story.earth. The image I'm seeing now is the web AR image. So it's overlaid against my computer screen. I want to point out that as you pan down, you'll start to see these thumbnails of different global change patterns. So let's start with one. I'm going to pick temperature day, and you'll see a movie begin to play, and that movie is showing seasonal change over 12 months. If I now pan up, you can see that there's a timeline that tells me what month we're in for each frame of the movie. Also to the left, I've got a legend, so this helps interpret the color palette, both in Fahrenheit and centigrade. To the right, I've got some simple controls, including pause and play and step, so those are available at any time. Now I'm going to pick vegetation, so we can take a look at that time series animation. Again, we're seeing seasonal change, helps to understand the differences between hemispheres and really what that kind of pattern of growth looks like over a year. There's the timeline to help us understand what month we're in. I'll pick one more. This one is atmospheric moisture. We start to see patterns of rainfall and precipitation, things like the monsoon season and bands of moisture that kind of circle the earth. And here again is that timeline, and here is the legend associated with that image. Now, one thing I want to demonstrate, I'm going to pick the fires layer, and we're not seeing as much detail as we might want here. So I'm going to zoom in with my camera, which is really just moving closer to the screen. And I'm going to center on South America, and we start to see kind of the seasonal change here. So the wetter months, and we're coming into the dry season, you see the fires kind of accelerate. And I can move to any region now and have kind of that zoomed in view. So that's a really nice feature. And if I pull back with the camera, I'm back to more of that wide angle view that we started with, where I can see all of the controls, I can see the timeline at the top. So lots to explore here, and enjoy your explorations.
Amazing. I'm just cognizant that we're a little over time, but I think we should share in our closing a little bit about what's coming.
So yeah, there's the idea of asking story.earth through a chatbot about what is going on in the earth, and so maybe Kirk can explain a little bit more about the vision for that. But yeah, this is just like a placeholder for.
Yeah, well, we think that the natural curiosity of students is a good fit for a chatbot that would be focused on Earth system science and earth science and geography, and where questions like how do seasons work, and what is the anthroposphere, and whatever other questions might emerge can be asked and answered. So that is something we would like to introduce in the next phase of work, and certainly invite anyone who's had experience with that to share more about their process.
It feels like it fits very well with something that we've initiated in the Design Science Studio, where the AI has called themselves Gaia. So it feels like there's a bridge to be made there, but there's also other ways that we're bringing this into the world.
Yeah, and I'll jump in here just to help round us out because of time. But I'm really also particularly thrilled about this. And Kirk, of course, this is the work that you've been doing with I.D.E.A and bringing this work into exhibitions. But so there's kind of two core concepts. One is geophonies, which is kind of meant to be in a more standard exhibition format, or not just standard, but just different types of exhibition spaces. And then how might these immersive exhibitions turn into potentially airport exhibitions? And so this one definitely has wings. I've been in a few airports in the last 2 weeks, and I'm just looking around. I'm like, what if we could really see and connect with our impact on this moving world? And, today in this session, as Marv so sweetly introduced, it's about looking at visualizing a world in change, and to be in movement and to be in change and to be considering the world in change, and you're part of it, I think is just so powerful. So maybe this is where we'll close. Sorry, we went just a few moments over. I want to respect everyone's time. And thank you so much, Kirk, for this opportunity to collaborate and for being here. Really, really grateful to be embarking on this partnership together, and all that you've built.
Thank you both, and thank you to the whole Design Science Studio network. And we certainly invite anyone that wants to learn more or has something that they'd like to contribute to be in touch. We're certainly building the team.
What a beautiful presentation, super inspiring. I know we're a little bit behind time, but as these amazing visions were being shared, and this new vision, although it's not so new, of the earth and this new way of seeing it, I have a very short poem that came to me. And I know we're a little bit behind time, but I feel like it's a nice segue to move on. So let's see the earth in a new way. An interconnected, living, breathing organism connected by a mycelial core. And though we have lost much of her green luster, we can heal this planet and restore. We are nature. Nature is us, a symbiotic relationship of love and trust. If we are the beings that eroded her living systems, the solution, too, lives within us. We are not separate. That illusion is fading. Times are changing, and we see the connections. It's time to face this. We are the dancers, singers, weavers of magic and science combined, realigning to a vision divine. We are the revolution, the solution, the stillness and movement, becoming the wave and creating the music, learning from each other and the planet, eternal students. Envision the world you want to see, the ancestor you want to be. Eager beavers, but we are not damned. We are the authors, directors, and actors. So now it's time to make a new plan. Spaceship Earth, rebirth, aligned for our actions and powerful words. Think and act first. So with that, I'd like to... I thought it was just flowing, so it had to come out. It's just the way it works. So I'd like to now pass on to my co-host and partner, Pablo, and move on to the next session. Thank you so much for those beautiful, inspiring presentations.
Hi, everybody. That was absolutely wonderful and so inspiring to see the globe. And I love the AR experience. I was playing with my phone and looking at and just having the screen like pop up. It's really beautiful, and to see the planet and see and kind of the feeling of the planet, no? The new colors, the new ways of seeing it. Now we have Irana Kratunis, is a new media artist and animator from New York City, immersed in the realms of nature and cosmos. She crafts imaginings and new perceptions and speaks for those who don't converse in the human voice. Irana, thank you. The floor is yours.
Hi. Thank you all. That was wonderful and beautiful. And when science can become so beautiful and inspiring, it's just the best way to communicate it. You guys, bravo. It was beautiful stuff. And I guess I see how I'm starting the new section, because I guess I'm bringing us a little bit more into the imaginal instead of the science. I like exploring. I took the invisible title, and I wanted to apply it to another earthling, not a human earthling. And so my presentation is this 1.5 minute little animation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Irana. That was absolutely beautiful. Is there anything you would like to share about the bird, the usage of color?
I just I love the word portal was used a lot in the first hour of our salon, and yeah, they, you know, ravens, crows, they say they're the portals to magical realms, other places, other being, other, and you know, I just wanted to offer what's invisible that they make visible. So thank you.
Beautiful. I love that because it reminds me of kind of this two interpretations of color that you have with Newton and Goethe. And Newton is all about the electromagnetic curve and how you can, you know, scientifically put things into order. But then Goethe is like, what is the human perception and feeling of color, and what it evokes? What is the mythology? What is the and we're now segueing into this area more about the arts and creativity. And with that, let me introduce Marv. He's a beatbox champ in the UK, 3x beatbox champ in the UK, showman, speaker, breath worker, and magician. He cares about being present and giving us beautiful sound and beautiful music. Marv, my co-host, welcome.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And the intention now is to share some vocal alchemy with you all. So if you have some headphones or speakers, I would recommend to hear the best quality sound that you can hear. And the first part will be a little bit of a meditation and visualization, creating all the sound live with this beautiful machine. That is like my literal cloning device. So switch over to the sound of
Breathe slowly. Breathe deeply. And allow yourself to take the journey within. As you breathe, allow your awareness to give permission for the invisible to become visible. Call into the spirit of nature, the living consciousness of this planet, and allow it to speak through you, to you, from you, as you. Allowing any images, any words, any feelings or vibrations to be received, allowing the invisible to be visible and the unheard to be heard. your breath. See the light of consciousness and the connectedness of all things. Remembering that you came from the most perfect peace and oneness into separation for the love of experience and the distillation of all that is. Take a moment here to tune in to your purpose. What a privilege it is to be in a space with so many people who clearly know their calling. Allow yourself to be a channel from this moment to the moment that you are revered as a wonderful ancestor that played their part in bringing balance back to this planet. Been waiting for voice of the voiceless, vision of the invisible, all that you dream is possible, probable. Your dream is your option. Transforming your optical to see the love that comes from it all. Living planet, we're to serve you. We hear you, we heard you, we feel you. And may this dream be true. Love to invite you to help me to create some music. So any words that I see in the chat become part of my lyrics. If you prefer to keep your eyes closed, not come back to the screen, feel free. Offering the liberation and the joy to see we are one, connected through the mycelium. Heal the field with Mother Earth and come back to life. This living world gives us so many signs. Cosmic play dimensions intertwine. We can fly. So let the weight from your shoulders become your wings and play. You are the God particle, the event horizon's been crossed. Teach children to explore the natural world together. They see things better than us. See the joy in their faces as the children see the magic in the parks and wild spaces. Are we a particle or a wave? Well, I guess we're just one in the same. See, when we're observed, we suddenly become form, but the wave teaches us how to transform. Live art pinned to this as I see the colors, the brush strokes, reminding us we're all sisters and brothers. From the red of the roots to the orange as we rise through the green of the heart. The flower unfurls, it's so beautiful to see this vision of heart. We are diamonds. Sometimes we're buried in the dirt, but we are seeds. So I guess that's how we need to be first. See, the dirt is the earth, giver of life. We all come together, but there's no need to collide. Invisible, visible, invisible, visible. sugar, that's the last and the first. The water flows through and quenches our thirst. Mineral people with crystals, liquid crystals as we come to display. The Darth Sidious of sheep Palpatine will not make us fall into the dark side or the dark way, but we embrace the darkness. The darkness that became what we are from the womb. We're all made from a star, we are so divine as we tune into this soil field. As we green these plains with our vision train, we're on track. Finding that they're playing different tracks on the radio station. And I've been so impatient to find that really we are making everything that we see. So it's a strange thing that we disempower ourselves and get lost. It can be cheap if we all pay our little costs, but somehow we get lost in the money and paying the boss. Germinating animals, bringing seed into life to find that we can make noise on a mic and realign to the dream catcher way, to see the dream catcher behind as we dream in the broad day, or whether it's the darkest night, we still see the vision and learn to listen. Cause everything is connected to the default node network, but we can change it and rearrange through the power of our breath. So breathe with me for a moment, in rhythm as the words come through. Breathe with me and listen. Empty your lungs completely and just hold. And breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe to the beat. The cycle repeats with the seed and the fruit and the tree. Our timelines being healing as we're in communion to the community. It's just unity with this truth we speak. The timeline is healing, revealing the deeper meaning. To see what we've been seeking is in beneath, is underneath and in between, the distance between us. As we see love you all so much, could be moved to tears. Multi-temporal resonance as we let go of fear and let ourselves resonate to the greatest heights and realize that we are given the gift of life, but we are not yet birds, we still tethered to the earth, we're kites. Let the wind direct and guide your flight. Personal world lines to see that we don't need headlines or deadlines, it's lifelines. We shine bright and rise nice to our brightest future, to the space-time field as we learn that we could be everything that we dream of. Nothing to lose cause we are already at the start and the end of all time. So let yourself unfold and then unwind and remind yourself. The sparks and rays that radiate from within, from without. Let yourself be confident with no doubt. I'm loving this, well I'm loving this too. So choo choo as the train keeps moving through the tracks. Divine sparks hidden remind us how we can interact. Breathe in and say ah. Inhale again and hold for a second, you're a star. And with your dreams manifest, let go with an Break your rivers of extra dimensional time space. Let our minds not race, change the time pace so we can go at a much slower space, but we can still have speed but no pace, no need to rush. We're all artists, so pick up your brush and trust in the love that emanates from the center and out of all of us. Last little moments of this stream to go, 38 seconds, so I'm gonna end the flow, but just know that as you express yourself, you become the true effervescence of your soul, create from source. To remember that you are soul force. Let your dreams come forth.
Can we just unmute ourselves and give a round of applause because that was absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Incredible.
Thank you,
Yes,
Marv. That was
so good.
amazing. So good.
What a
To hear your
wonderful
sounds.
sound embrace. Like you filled my space with just so much love and flow. And when you told me earlier about getting people in the state of flow, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, up next, we have Della Buford, is an award-winning painter, best-selling author of 7 books. She's been a digital nomad for 1 year, and stories performed in New York City, in Korea, in Guatemala, in Japan, in Bali. Journey to Dodoland, an e-zine and website with 22 million views. Bella, thank you so much for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit about dreaming. And for me, I think about invisible, visible, and I think, isn't it an amazing thing that every human being has dreams? And we can look at the human being and we don't know what their dreams are. They're totally inside of us. And the only way to make them visible is for the person to remember their dream and then express it in some way, either through art or theater or music or drama or whatever creative way they can think of. And all of a sudden the dreams become visible. So I wanted to share a little bit about a talk I did on making your night dreams, sort of manifesting them for global impact, which I've been doing for decades. And I gave a talk on that fireside chat. And on the chat, one of the questions that was asked by Stephen Levitt, who was interviewing me, the amazing host of 2 podcasts, Language of Creativity and Earth Mission. He was interviewing me and he asked the group something that I asked in one of my books, Dodoland. What animal would you like to be if you were going to be some mythical or power animal of your own? And so the different people that were part of the group replied, and Bliss replied, and she was hosting the session. And she said, I would like to be a Pegasus unicorn, a pigacorn. And I thought, wow, okay, that's great. And I love unicorns. And so it's not a surprise that night of the fireside, I had a dream of Bliss on a unicorn ship. And so this is the painting I did, which is kind of a collage painting. It was done just for fun, but basically what it shows, I've got it in behind me, the original here. I don't know whether I can really show this, but here it is. Yeah, I did this collage about Bliss riding the unicorn ship. And so this sort of set me up for the idea of, yeah, you're right, Bliss is inhabiting the unicorn ship. So when I started to think about the unicorn ship, I thought about it being something that anyone can go on when they want to share their dreams, make their dreams from invisible within themselves to visible. And all of a sudden I got some people in the belly of the ship and some people above the ship and some people around the ship. And I talked to the people that were at the fireside. And on the fireside chat, I'll show my slide actually of the different parts because it'll be hard to see it here. But when you look at the different parts of the ship, there's one part with me and with the dream wheel, and the dream wheel is my way of recording my dreams, which I've done for 40 years and is documented in the book Dream Wheels. And people that I talked to that were at the fireside were also recording their dreams and were making art around their dreams. So I thought I would share a little bit of that. And I asked each one of them, would you like to be on the unicorn ship? And they said, yes. So it turned out that there's 33 people on the unicorn ship. Okay, we'll go to the next part. One part of the ship shows a little bit of my stories, which come from dreams, influenced by two cultures, the Indian culture and the Tibetan culture. The Tibetan culture uses a whole visualization of the chakras to be able to come up with your story. And I've got different pictures from my stories here. And also Teo is in here because he writes poetry from his dreams and has shared that with the group. Okay. Also in the belly of the ship, we've got, as Stacy said, I'm in the belly of the ship. Bliss is asking, where are we going with this? Yeah, you've got your own dreams. Stacy in the ship, she actually is quite an incredible dreamer. She's been dream journaling for 12 years. And she shared a little bit about her dreams with me. And it's sort of interesting that she works with the Jungian philosophy, which Jung was so incredible with thinking of dreams. Also in the belly of the ship is Selva, who is also really into dreams. And she actually creates visionary sets, theater sets from dreams. And I spoke with her, and she was in Florida at the time. Amanda Sage, of course, has created this incredible dream vision of the vision train that is going not only for her, but for many other people who have their dreams and they're painting their dreams up. Luana De Angelis also spoke to me about dreams. She's writing a book and she's included dreams in her book. She's very into dreams. I was happy to hear that. She's done the Thrive thing, of course, and there's other people there too. Oh, we've got John. Just go back to the other slide for a sec, because I've got to mention John and Dennis. John and Dennis, John Van Demeter and Dennis Moore mentioned at the fireside that their whole life's work, their whole sort of why they do their work came from dreams. John had a dream of a truncated octahedron, and that changed his whole idea of, yeah, I should get into the geometrics of it all. And so I've got it. And Dennis is got a dream about saving the earth. Okay, well, go to the next one. I got to move through this quickly. And these are some of the people that are colleagues who were at the fireside: Irene, Vincent, and Tony Walter, and Alice Brownlee, and Ramondo. And these are some people that are dream producers: David Walsh, Nora Burford, Sequoia Sun. Let me use her incredible radio Laras in an installation that Ian McIntosh did. And that was in the last New Arch thing, and that became a dream. And there's Geo here, Mantis, and of course, Irana, who just showed you, who said she did a painting from a dream. So there are many people with dreams. I think we have just one more slide. Dale Bertrand, of course, is my husband who supports my dreams. Julian Romanis last year made my dream story come true with an animation. And Alicia, of course, is doing her dream work on the vision train. Simone, who's in Switzerland, she actually uses her dreams for healing. And her and I actually had a similar, I had a dream and she had a meditation that was the same, almost at the same time. It's incredible what you can do with dreams. This could go on. I think we've just got one more slide. And then this shows everybody together. Here we are dreaming. Let's dream up lots of things. Let's make the invisible of dreams visible. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Ella, thank you so much. This is so and how we can co-weave our dreams and
right.
not only have a community in the Zoom digital, but also in the astral.
That's it. You can go anywhere in your dreams, any place in the world and beyond, and you can meet anyone you want to.
And I think it's like a co-weaving of multiple stories and multiple branches and fruits of.
Absolutely. That's what's neat about it. Thank you. Thank you,
so
everyone.
Thank
you.
you. I'll pass the mic on to Marv. Marv, thank you. You have the baton.
Beautiful. And yeah, I love all these connections with these different worlds, like dreaming, how it connects with everything that we are started as a dream, you know, everything that we could ever dream of is part of our reality. And this takes me to the next person to introduce, who is a dream, complete dream. I've had the pleasure of spending time with this wonderful human, and before spending time in person, spending a lot of time with the amazing art. And I mean, I almost want to say needs no introduction, but then I wouldn't be doing my job. So I will let you know that Amanda Sage is an artist driven by the desire to reveal art's critical role in regenerative culture, and is passionate about creating artistic social experiments that explore solutionary activism. And she runs the Vision Train, which is a virtual 24/7 art studio hosted on Zoom, created by artists for artists to share, learn, and explore collaborative community building, while growing a platform to connect a global tribe inspired by the frontier of consciousness, environmental, and social activisms. And the one last thing I would like to say in introduction is one of the greatest visionary artists of our time. And it's an absolute pleasure that we get the opportunity to be on this planet at the same time as such an amazing artist. And it's no hyperbole. Most of you probably know this to be true. So without further ado, I'd love to pass on to the amazing Amanda Sage.
Mark, what an introduction. And it was so beautiful to hear your incredible soundscape weaving, dreaming, like the story into the dream, you know, like the improv that you do is just so, it takes me into the moment, just blasts me into the moment. And to have you on the train today, to have the Design Science Studio on the train today, this Zoom call has been going for 4 years. There's moments where it goes a little dark, needs a little rest, but there's been thousands of artists and cultural cultivators that have been here on the Vision Train Zoom, connecting, weaving all over the world. And we are in the midst of our 4-year anniversary week. Actually, this weekend is closing out this whole week. And my heart is so full. I mean, first and foremost, that this week we've had over 40 conductors that have trained to be able to keep the train on the tracks over these 4 years, come and take on trips. Trips are 3-hour segments, and they host different experiences. We're just hosting also music and podcasts or shares. And it's such a generative space. And one of the things that I've learned so much through the Design Science Studio, I got to be a part of cohort number 1, is this beautiful balance of listening, receiving, and then also offering and giving. And this platform of the artist spotlights that is happening today is one of these wonderful opportunities. And I just feel like one of those chipmunks that has my cheeks filled with so many sparkly seeds at the end of one of these. And then you got to just go find a place to go bury them. And it's good to go put them into a poem, into a painting, into, share it with someone else. Because these are the ripples and these are the threads that are activating the mycelial web that is connecting all of us all over this world. So today I wanted to share with you just a few little slides to share with a part of our story. And let's get this started. So the Vision Train, 4th anniversary. Here we are, March 23rd through the 31st, actually. Today's the 30th, but we are not slowing down anytime soon either. And this is a massive opportunity to come to the watering hole again. Come to the watering hole and see what have we learned? What do we have to share? And this vision really came from somewhere, I don't know, deep in the stars, way from the beyond. And I think it's been coming through many of us. And this is a painting that I did in 2017, and it's called The Vision Train. And this painting shows, look, here we are. We're all blasting our visions out onto our canvases, but maybe we're also looking at our screens right now. All of us that are here right now, we're doing that, right? And here's the train coming right for us. And on this train carries the city that unfolds next to the cities of all the boxes. And in the center is the sacred fire. And around the sacred fire is a space of gathering, and are the indigenous people, the peoples that have not forgotten where they came from. And we're on that journey to remember as well. And around here, the centers of learning. You can see, thank you, Buckminster Fuller. Shout out. He's everywhere. And here are the regenerative villages that are all around. And I see this as a New World's Fair. This is us gathering. Here we are in our International Creative Space Station. But we're going to continue to gather in places all over the world and help remind each other what is possible. And so when about 4 years ago, when the great pandemic hit, I put out the call to action to all my students all over the world and friends and artists and people that I just loved and said, let's get on the Vision Train Global Art Jam, 24/7 jam on Zoom. And we're going to train each other into learning how to share in the space, share music so it sounds good, share workshops, skill shares, and listen to each other and learn what is it that we really are here to do? What is our call to action? And this is us just the other day celebrating together in community, just like this, the way we are here on Zoom. And we found the space to be a place that we can really tank up and exchange and witness each other from all over the world. We have visionaries from Iran, from India, from Finland, from the UK, from Australia, from South Africa, from Uruguay, from Central America, from the United States, from Hawaii, from Canada, from Asia. It's incredible. And if you have a way to connect, you're welcome. This is a safe, collaborative, generative space. And so we have this calendar that we made up, this language, trip 1, trip 2, so that we can figure out when we are talking about things because we're all over the world. So we came up with this language. And so it's helpful. It's like trip 3. I'm usually awake during that time. Trip 1, 1A, 1B. Oh, for the time zone that I'm in is a little rough. And we've had this beautiful calendar of events this whole week. And, go jump on our website, visiontrain.org. We also have a Mighty Networks, a group platform that we share in, and would love to invite you to come back if this is your first time on the train today. So thankful to the Design Science Studio. I mean, we're weaving our tracks here. The Design Science Studio, we all started around the same time 4 years ago. And it is such a blessing, and we're in it for the long game. And this painting here, this is behind me too. This is the great wave of transformation. This is where we're riding this wave, guys. And we're in the froth of it. You know, we're linking our train cars together in this ever expanding, beautiful story that I feel is something that we've all heard the whistle for in some way, shape, or form. So the invitation is, you know, what does it look like to you? What does your train car look like? You know, we're here to link our train cars together in this ever evolving, longest, most beautiful train ever made. And it's coming through our dreams. It's coming through the stories. And I have one more little surprise I'd like to share with you. And so thank you, everyone that has jumped on today. I hope we have a few more minutes to share. I think my friend, my dear teacher has arrived. And let's see, where are you? There you are, Bernd.
Here I am. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, welcome to the
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, both.
Hello again. Hello again. In the last second, the thunderstorm stopped and the electricity here in Namibia, Africa, is working again.
Right on time.
Right on time, yes, right on time. Hello, it's a bliss to join your wonderful community. It's amazing, amazing Amanda, and amazing communications, and amazing people here all around, so far as I can see. Great.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. So do you have something you want to share with us today?
Yeah, a little thing. As I see this train you created is breathing. like before you created, perhaps he was joining to a yoga class, but he is breathing. Inhale, exhale, he is breathing. With all your people, the whole train is taking a breath and is alive. And so I saw the breathing in has already a slogan, has already a message: get on board.
Mm-hmm.
So the inhale is, yeah, come to the train, get on board. And I see the exhale. Is your time over? No. There was a message.
I think we can have a few more moments. Can we have a few more moments, crew? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I see the exhale has no message so far. And I for myself think it's necessary that the exhale of the train also has a slogan, also has a message. Because with this message, the train can become famous. The train became spreading out. And I created a slogan, discovered a slogan that's not for this beautiful community, because they all are in peace, they all are in love with the train already. So it's necessary to reach the crazy people, the mad persons who are thinking war should be the next step for the mankind, and so making life dangerous on the planet. For those people, I think they have to be confronted with a new message. And so, to make a short story short, the message is, or the slogan is, I found out, war is no solution. And if you bring out this message, war is no solution, then all the people who are thinking war is a solution get confronted. And I think perhaps they wake up or they turn around in their mind, or people who are not aware enough that so many people start to think war is a solution, can become the message, war is no solution. And so in my thinking, this could be the outpressing of your train. And this could be the message why you have to enter the train, why you can get on board with the train. And what the vision of the train at least is that war is no solution all over the world. No discussion, no meaning, nothing. That's not allowed. So this was, and I thought about so many people in your world and all over the world. You can go on Facebook, you can go on whatever you want on the social medias, and you can spread out this message, and this message leads to the train. And so you can go everywhere and make it in newspapers or in TV discussions or social medias. And so you can start a campaign with this slogan and making, in this way, the train famous. Not why it's necessary to make the train famous, but it's necessary to make your peace and your power and your message famous. So this was my contribution to your train.
To our train. Thank you so much, Ben,
Yes.
for being on board with us. Yes.
Yeah.
Choo choo.
And perhaps it worked out for you. Perhaps you like it. Perhaps you figure out it's good to confront the madness and the craziness of the crazy people and the mad crowds. To confront this with war is no solution, not at all.
Not at all. I
Not at
feel
all.
that very deeply. I feel that very
Yeah,
deeply.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And from this point, you can discuss peace is the solution.
Right.
Right.
That comes next. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank
Bye-bye.
you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. And I just want to, one more time, invite everybody after this week, join us, get on board. The train has left the station and it is not slowing down. And remember, war is no solution.
Choo choo.
Yes.
I really want to thank Amanda and Bernd for that beautiful intervention. And I'd like to think the war is an illusion. It's a delusion that we have, and peace is the solution that we have. You know, it's definitely happening in our dream, but it's really not the focus of what we're here to do as the regenerative revolutionaries. And I'm getting word in my ear that there's a public service announcement that everybody is in danger of a wisdom overload. So if you don't want to overdose from wisdom, I think it's a very good time for everyone to take a little break, have a little shake, do what they need to do, whatever you need to take care of yourself. And maybe before we take that break, we can just once again unmute and show some love to everybody who's contributed so far. And everybody who puts this together.
So grateful to be on the vision train. Choo-choo.
Amen. Get on board.
On board.
Get on board. People all over the world, join hands.
Oh, yes. Join the love train. Vision.
Love train. Vision train.
Yeah. All right. We're a little over time, so it's gonna be a baby break, but it's gonna be a break. So take like 3 minutes and we'll see you back here on the other side. I'm also going to restart the stream. So if you are out in the stream world, come on in and have fun because it's pretty fun in here. We'd love to play with you.